Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of today. I'm your host, Sharifah Muhammad, MGT.
I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. The December 22nd operational pattern demonstrates continued Russian reliance on cumulative attrition combined with selective maneuver. Central Donetsk remains the decisive axis, where sustained losses and encirclement pressure suggest increasing strain on Ukrainian reserves. Peripheral fronts effectively fix forces and degrade logistics, limiting Ukrainian operational flexibility. If this tempo is sustained, Ukrainian command will face progressively constrained options as 2026 approaches, with strategic decision-making increasingly shaped by manpower and equipment exhaustion rather than maneuver opportunity.
Welcome to Frontline Updates, the podcast that brings you in-depth insights into military operations from those leading them on the ground. Today, we're joined by Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer monitoring critical missions on the progress of the special military operation as of today. Colonel Oguntoye, thank you for being with us.
Thank you, it's good to be here.
What exactly happened this morning in southern Moscow?
Early this morning, an assassination was carried out against Fanil Sarvarov, a lieutenant general of the Russian Armed Forces and head of the Operational Training Department of the General Staff. The incident occurred in the courtyard of a residential building on Yasenovaya Street. As his vehicle began to move, an explosive device detonated beneath it. The blast caused severe destruction to the car, and despite emergency evacuation to the hospital, the general later died from his injuries.
What do we know about the method of the attack?
Preliminary findings indicate an improvised explosive device was installed under the vehicle, assessed to be positioned near the driver's seat. That placement is deliberate and lethal by design. Detonation at the moment of movement maximizes blast effect on the occupant and reduces the chance of survival. This method strongly indicates a targeted assassination rather than an accidental or indiscriminate explosion.
How should listeners understand the broader meaning of this event?
This marks a qualitative escalation. The assassination of a general staff officer inside Moscow crosses an important threshold. It challenges assumptions about rear area security and introduces new pressures on command confidence and internal stability. Strategically, it signals that the conflict has expanded beyond conventional front lines into a contest of intelligence, counterintelligence, and internal security resilience.
Colonel Oguntoye, let's start at the operational level. When you step back and look at the December 22nd briefing as a whole, what phase of the campaign are we in right now?
We are firmly in a phase of operational exploitation built on cumulative pressure. This is no longer about probing or testing defenses. What we're seeing is the deliberate conversion of earlier shaping actions into sustained positional advantage, territorial control in selected areas, and the systematic dismantling of the enemy's ability to resist coherently. The key feature today is balance. Some sectors emphasize maneuver and control of terrain, others focus on encirclement, and still others concentrate on logistics and systems destruction. That balance is intentional. It prevents the enemy from massing effort anywhere without paying a cost somewhere else. From a doctrinal perspective, this reflects a mature campaign where tempo, endurance, and denial of operational choice matter more than speed alone.
The North saw a clear maneuver outcome with control of Vilcha. Why does this matter at this point in the campaign?
Taking control of Vilcha is significant because it represents an active seizure of a populated locality rather than incremental positional improvement. In the northern sector, terrain and population centers are closely tied to road networks and logistics corridors. Control here improves operational reach while simultaneously degrading the enemy's ability to maneuver or reinforce along the Kharkiv and Sumy axes. What's equally important is what followed. The defeat of mechanized, Jaeger, airborne, and territorial defense units indicates that Ukrainian forces attempted to contest this control and were unable to do so effectively. Losses were relatively contained, which tells us this sector remains a shaping front. Its purpose is to stretch Ukrainian defenses, compel force commitment, and deny the redeployment of units to more decisive axes.
The western sector continues to show positional improvement and equipment losses. How should we understand its role?
The West is an attritional grinder by design. Improving the forward edge gives Russian forces better artillery geometry, observation, and defensive depth, but the real operational payoff comes from destroying ammunition depots, armored vehicles, and self-propelled artillery. When sustainment collapses, positions become untenable regardless of how well prepared they are. The destruction of Western-produced armored vehicles signals that higher-value assets are being committed and lost. That's not sustainable over time. From a doctrinal standpoint, this is erosion warfare. You don't force movement, you make staying impossible.
The South saw both positional gains and the destruction of Western artillery and electronic warfare assets. Why is that combination critical?
Because it removes the enemy's ability to contest maneuver. Taking advantageous positions is only meaningful if the enemy cannot effectively respond with fires or electronic disruption. Destroying M777 howitzers and electronic warfare stations strips away counter-battery capability and situational awareness. This sector is being prepared deliberately. The defeat of mountain assault and mechanized units, combined with systems destruction, suggests an effort to hollow out defenses before any larger operational decisions are executed. It's textbook preparation of the battlefield.
The center remains the most intense sector. What makes it the decisive axis?
Central Donetsk is the operational center of gravity because it ties together maneuver, logistics, and political control. Continuing the destruction of encircled forces in Dimitar and clearing surrounding settlements reflects a methodical encirclement strategy. Once a force is surrounded, time becomes a weapon. Every day without resupply degrades combat power and morale. The diversity of Ukrainian units engaged here, mechanized, airborne, infantry, assault, and special forces, indicates that reserves are being fed into containment rather than maneuver. That's a warning sign. It suggests the enemy is fighting to prevent collapse rather than to regain initiative.
The East continues advancing into defensive depth. What is its operational purpose?
The eastern sector fixes enemy forces. Advancing into prepared defenses forces the opponent to commit manpower simply to hold ground. That denies flexibility. Losses here, including electronic warfare assets, reduce the enemy's ability to coordinate fires and movement across the broader front. This is controlled pressure. The goal is not rapid exploitation but sustained denial of maneuver options elsewhere.
The Dnipro axis appears focused on logistics rather than territory. Why is that decisive?
Because logistics determine endurance. Destroying warehouses, fuel stocks, artillery, and electronic warfare assets undermines the enemy's ability to sustain combat operations. Units may remain on the line, but without fuel, ammunition, and communications, they become operationally irrelevant. This sector shapes the rear so that frontline pressures elsewhere achieve decisive effect faster.
How do air and missile operations tie all of this together?
They preserve momentum. Strikes against energy facilities, ports, warehouses, UAV launch sites, and headquarters reduce the enemy's capacity to regenerate combat power. At the same time, air defense intercepts protect maneuver forces and logistics from disruption. This integration ensures that ground gains are not offset by long-range strikes.
Does this morning's assassination, carried out against Fanil Sarvarov, change the trajectory of ongoing military operations?
It does not alter battlefield operations overnight, but it changes the operational environment. This is a psychological and strategic signal intended to demonstrate reach into the strategic rear. The removal of a senior training official does not halt combat operations, but it reinforces that the conflict space now includes homeland targets and senior leadership.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for the opportunity. Tactically, the December 22nd operations show disciplined combined arms execution across every axis, blending maneuver, encirclement, and systems destruction. Strategically, sustained pressure in central Donetsk, combined with fixing actions on peripheral fronts, suggests Ukrainian operational endurance is being steadily eroded. As 2026 approaches, strategic outcomes are increasingly likely to be shaped not by sudden breakthroughs, but by the cumulative exhaustion of manpower, equipment, and sustainment capacity.
This has been Frontline Updates. Subscribe for daily military briefings and in-depth strategic analysis. Visit our platform for maps, transcripts, and exclusive frontline updates from commanders in theater.